Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Presence of Light with charlierivermanbergeron. I'm just wrapping up my desktop so that I can speak to you all this morning, and hopefully I will be seen and heard. I've had a week of craziness with an unbelievable amount of how would I say this? Computer catastrophes. So, good morning, Anita, Margaret, Julia. Margaret says, good day to everyone. Yes, to everyone. Whether you're here and joining us and whether you're off in the ether somewhere doing something, or whether you're just busy shopping at your local grocery store, it doesn't matter. The vibration goes out, and it's a pleasure to be here and do this talk every Saturday morning. And thank you, Liani and Humanity Healing, for this opportunity. You've been part of my life for over probably 10, 15 years. And it's a great gift for me to give back for all that you've done for me personally in guiding me on my journey. And still do every day. So today's talk, good morning, Joelle, good morning. And so today's talk is really, it's a strange one because the title is multidimensionality. And it arose because of the week that I've just spent. So we're at the new moon and a new beginning and the end of a cycle and the beginning of a cycle. And so this past week has been, not just for me, but everybody that I talk to personally or that contact me for counseling, etc., have been going through this, a variety. I don't think I've ever seen such a variety of emotional charges. So if you're in that group, do not feel bad. You are not alone. This is an amazing process. And what I really came to know this week was my multidimensionality, which I understood, became fully blown, and I was fully aware of it in several dimensions simultaneously. And so we would call it, humans, we would call it multitasking. But it was beyond multitasking because there was a peace and a calm within me that could not be disturbed by all of the chaos that was coming at me or presented to me repeatedly and rapidly on some occasions. So if any of you, oh, Catherine, you made it. It's good to see you, dear. If you have been experiencing this sort of tumultuous week energetically, and you've been able to witness this, give yourself a pat on the back. If you've been able to witness it and not have it overcome you, because this is who we are now. This is what we are. We are really stepping into this multidimensional self. The title was Multidimensional Flow, and as I typed it, it came out Multidimensional Self. I'm not in charge. I just show up. So what I wanted to do was begin with the first card that I pulled today, which I wrote up on the top of the page there, and it's get into the love vibe, let all else slide. And this is a soul inspiration card by my friend Mia, who also goes by Kalia, and has these beautiful cards. Little ad here, Soul Inspirations by Kalia. Anyway, this is what we're here to do, is embrace each other and to help each other move through all of this, these trials and errors and problems that are really rising. Cape Town, bless you, Michael. That's a long way from Maine, that's for sure. As I started to write my notes this morning, I wrote, picture a river that is flowing gently and winding its way down from the mountaintop, over the rocks, through the woodlands, through the meadows. Okay, just imagine that water flowing. Each place that it moves through presents an amazing difference in the energy it presents to the observer. Water is really a multidimensional element. And it depends on where we look at it and how we relate to it, that it touches us differently. So too, in our own multidimensionality, how we think about things or approach things or look at things changes the energy within us. So the process now that we're going through is, how do we maintain a single energy flow, a complete cohesive energy flow, when all of this is being presented to us at the same time, simultaneously? We're getting hit from different thought forms, different ways of looking at the same thing while we're in the middle of doing it, which was the bizarre experience I went through this week on a greater level than I ever have before. It's been occurring over the years, but this week seemed to be just like the grand finale. So, good morning. So the second card I pulled this morning is this beautiful card. Look at that. Isn't that gorgeous? That's called the Cartwheel Galaxy. A point within a circle. Another sacred symbol, the point within the circle. And that's who we are. We are the point within the circle of our own toroidal field. And in that toroidal field, we have this multi-dimensional activity going on. And this is just coming to me right now. This is not part of my notes. So this is what I'm called to do, is bring this through and share with you how I interpret things, which may not be how you interpret them, but it gives you a different perspective. And so that card was called God's Garden. And the saying that went with that card was, I am a flower in the mind of God, and I am rooted in divine love. I'm omitting the pronouns to that because I look at divine love as divine love, not masculine or feminine. The lilies of the fields are rooted in the earth, and their roots penetrate deep into the soil and receive nourishment. I am deeply rooted in the celestial oneness of the protector, and love is the nourishment I receive. So as in Nia's little saying that I randomly picked these cards this morning because I had no clue what I was going to talk about. And I didn't want to get into my own personal journey. I said, give me something that I can present to the world that will help them understand some of the processes that they may be going through, as I am during this amazing evolution of humanity. So if you've been experiencing these things, just, hold on. It's do what you can. The message has been do what you can with what you have where you are. Bring it all back into that point within the circle. This is the circle of the greater field of our energy field. Bring it back to the heart. This is the center. This is the center of the circle. Bring it back. Bring all your energy back home. Don't shut it off. Don't close it down. but just bring it closer in and bathe in it, if you will. I actually try to invite people to bathe in that love that your heart generates. It's part of the transmission line of our multidimensional self. It's how we're really going to communicate in the future, is not through the mind and not through the mouth, but just through the heart. And if you've ever sat in circle in silence and in meditation and just done a heart resonance journey with everybody and just sent love from the heart, it's blissful. Granted, the 3D world around us doesn't allow for blissful to happen in very long periods of time. But that's okay, because it's always in motion. It's always balancing. It's the yin and the yang, balancing and overcoming, and it's the process in which we live. So don't be alarmed if you've had rough few first days of May being rough, or being presented with issues that are from a past memory or way in the back, and you're looking and say, I thought I already went through this. What is this about? A lot of it is residual, and it's stuff that we're not consciously aware of on our subconscious or superconscious, but it's just still releasing from the marrow of our bones. And we're feeling the flow of the waters and the earth. The earth is holding us, it's rooting us. And so tap into the earth wherever you are. I can't say that enough to people, to ground, to allow, to hold the water, to watch it flow, to contain it. Don't let it overflow the banks. All of these sort of metaphors. And just realize that we're all in this. We're all experiencing this. It's not uncommon for any species of being to go through this evolutionary process and have some sort of reluctance to let go of the past, the memories, and to process them so that they can be free and move on into the next phase of their evolutionary process. So in the meantime, we have these all of these energies, not times, that we're living in right now. When I use the word time, it has no meaning. This week, time had no meaning because there were several time zones I was in. I was in different dimensions, and some have time, some don't have time. And when I tried to relate to time here in the third dimension, it's like, where am I? I had to really focus on a calendar and activities that I do in the third dimensional world. It was almost impossible. It was almost in a form of insanity. And I don't believe in insanity. I'm not saying that there are chemical and biological processes that the brain goes through that create dysfunction, but we're just not, we're far more than that on the higher dimensions that we are. So we're physically on one level while thinking on another level, and then being able to observe it from a completely different dimension of ourselves. And if that makes sense to you, just follow that. Those are just three dimensions of who we are. And they're relatively simple. We do this every day. The challenge now is we're opening to 4 dimensions, 5 dimensions, 6 dimensions. I'm receiving information from all of them and then trying to sort it out here in this third dimensional existence, which for many of you know, is shifting and moving. It's moving beyond what we can actually describe because we don't have any reference to it in the human consciousness. Catherine says, observing awareness of patterns surfacing to release and clear. Yes, that is a big part of this. And that is looking at things from that higher dimension, which is not so energetically charged as it is on the third dimension. So we can go into that dimension of ourselves. And there's almost like an emotional or an energy emotional dismount. We unplug and we get to observe it. And this is not, trust me, it's not a form of mental distress that you're going through. Mental distress may cause you to shift out of that and into that space because it's a safety zone right now. It's a safety zone to pull back and to pull into those higher dimensions. And I personally feel that that's why it's opening to all of us. It's not just me. It's not because of what I know or what I do, but everybody. The average person on the street is going to experience this. They're going to react differently. So my message is really for all of us to just slowly become aware of this and to learn to trust that it is our higher self. And so what I wrote this morning was, and so we find ourselves acting physically on one level while thinking on another and being able to observe it from a completely different dimension of ourselves, which is receiving communications from a totally unique aspect of capital S self, which is beginning to become trusted as our higher self. We're beginning to know ourselves. When we say, will the real so-and-so please appear, we're not talking about this physicality anymore, although, yes, we are, but we're asking really for this higher self to appear and become manifest in this third dimension. This is our saving grace, as my guides so carefully placed in my ear. All of this is challenging. It's the beginning, although we've been going through it for years. And just be gentle with yourself. We're all embarking on this journey together, and we can't fully explain it in words. It's an experience. Last night, as I finally got my computer hopefully back together after 5 days of living hell, computer hell, I wrote this message, one of my memes, and it's, within any final moment, there is perfection, an opportunity beyond reason. So most of my messages are very cryptic, and they're designed that way or come through that way in order to have people interpret them for themselves. But the basic message is there is an ending and a beginning. And there's a space between them. And so the final moment of one thing opens the door for the new beginning. And the opportunity to expand into that is usually a place of unknowing. And an opportunity to expand into something new, yet still part of our divine nature. This part of this is beyond our ability to define. We don't know. It's blank space. It's emptiness. It's darkness. It's, as I said in one of my other messages, but in darkness, there's only light to be seen. And we are that light. And so it becomes a moment of of truthing. I'm receiving the word truthing. And you can't put that and explain that in a group of letters that we draw and we speak in these letters. It can't be contained. It's non-containable. Nor are we at this higher level of who we truly are. So I began with water. Much like water being absorbed by the earth, we're elemental. And the water is drawn up into the lilies, air by fire, fire of our sun, and always is a manifestation of light through ether. So here we are, this elemental process here in the third dimension. And if you're feeling ungrounded or super sensitive, remember that the you, the capital Y, you, is not just one element, but all of them. All of them. You know, we say, well, I'm an earth, I'm fire, I'm water, and we continue this choice of separation. However, the truth is, we are all of them. We are just choosing to express a particular one in any given moment. And right now, in our evolution, this is what's happening. We are becoming all of them simultaneously. So we now have, again, this multi-dimensionality, the multi-dimensionality of all of the elements. And we're to work with that. We're to communicate the water within us, with the earth in us, with the fire in us, and make it work. This is our home crew. This is our home crew of energy. And we no longer have to accept, that's ACCECPT, we no longer have to accept any limitation and say, oh, well, it's easier for somebody than the other person. No, it's not. All we have to do at this point in time is start trusting ourselves and saying, what am I being guided from this higher dimension of myself through my heart to experience? So we're bypassing. We're now bypassing. We're clearing the I call it the motor mind, the thing that runs constantly, trying to discern or trying to figure it out. I'm operating now from the fully new operating system. It's like my computer. I had to have a whole new operating system. The old one just didn't work. The analogies are just amazing. And so as I close this talk, that I really wasn't looking forward to doing this morning. I'm having a ball, as you can see, with all of you, and thank you all for being here. Buenos Aires, from Truth and Love. You're all you are my tribe, my family. I love you. And the last card I pulled was, and these are all by chance, not by choice, was the Tao. And this is from the Kuan Yin Oracle deck. Put a plug in here for Alana Fairchild and the Kuan Yin Oracle deck, which is I don't think I've ever pulled a card out of that deck that wasn't perfect for what I was going through in the moment. And maybe that's just me. I think we all have our favorite meditation cards or decks that, sync with us. But the message of that card was, and I won't read the whole thing, but is, the Tao is always flowing, always nourishing life into creation, always presenting steps, and always reminding us that we are perfection in this moment. I want to say that again. We are perfection in this moment. You are being guided to relax and allow life to flow. And so here's where it goes back to the message earlier of the water. I began with that lovely card from Mia, and it was a stream flowing, and it's the water. And this multidimensionality that we're experiencing is really about learning how to flow, learning how to flow over the rocks, around the rocks, or the obstacles in our lives, to upturn and overturn the stuff that needs to be released, the muck underneath the riverbed, and wash it away. Wash it away. And at the same time, nurture all of the plants and all of the flora and fauna that are along the flow path of that water. It goes on to say, and I excerpt certain paragraphs, beloved, you are being invited into a more advanced spiritual classroom of the soul. Sometimes we think that more advanced means more effort, and yet in spiritual matters, as we mature, we become more able to stop attempting to control and direct from our limited perspective, and instead become open to receiving and being directed by higher forces, which include our own divine essence at one with the source of all. And I promise you, I did not choose this card. This is how we work as multidimensional beings. The things that we need to say, things that we need to talk about will come. The things we need to focus on will appear. The synchronicity increases the more we trust this multidimensional process. The challenge, this is also from the card, the challenge is not to try and force life to unfold according to our whims, but to grow in trust, wisdom, self-love, self-worth, so that we become capable of surrender. We don't like that word, surrender, do we? But it's in that surrendering we let go of the struggle. We let go of the flow. So when we surrender to the dam in the river, we will eventually rise above it and flow over it if they don't release it. So you see, this is the power of who we are. There's nothing that can really stop us. Nothing. We are these amazing, beautiful beings. Another excerpt is, you are being asked to let go now, to relax and allow life to do what it does, which is flow. Life, the Tao, is more powerful than any obstacle. As I said, with the dam, can't hold the water forever. So as you go about your week this week, I ask you that to begin to recognize when and if you are getting messages from multiple dimensions simultaneously. And know that the one that is the highest, the one that is the clearest, the one that is the most peaceful, the one that represents a surrender from the chaos around you, is really the one we need to tap into. This one here, the third dimensional, it's going to struggle, it's going to fight, it's going to scream, it's going to kick, it's going to do everything, because that's what it's designed to do. That was survival. We're moving beyond survival now. We're moving into truly living as these beautiful and grand, divine, spiritual beings we are, that we call humanity, and coming back into harmony and balance. And I know the world does not represent that picture. This is the chaos. This is the impetus, the energy that's going to help us see it, desire it, manifest it. So I'll close with this, a prayer to the Tao, which is also from this reading. Guide me, restore me. I trust you completely. Your wisdom, love, and joy lights my path and way, becomes easy for me. Om Mani Padme Hum. And with that, I'm going to wish you a wonderful week and say goodbye as I always do. I love you. I thank you. I respect you. I am you. You are me. And we are unity. Have a blessed week. I hope my words touch some parts of your beingness that will open some little doors and let the light in. And know that wherever you are, whatever you're doing, whatever your practices, whatever your teachings are, we are all here in this moment to be the highest level of that teaching. Do it with love. Bless you all. Thank you all for showing. See the desire manifest. Namaste. The unified field. Yes, we are one unified field. And we're never going to, let me say, I'm not going to say never. We are going to understand far more with every step we take into this not only unified field, but field that can't truly be comprehended by the limited human mind. We're now moving into unlimitedness. And with that, I'm complete. Bless you all, and I love you. See you around the universe somewhere. Bye-bye.